From this is a Lusitano horse from England,
Yeah.
and they're dressed up to do. I don't know if these guys actually doing Jostin here.
There's no one just in there, so
Yeah.
you can find
Maybe
it
he's
all.
maybe he's decorative at that point.
Yeah.
That's our horse.
Really?
That's what we raised. Yeah, that's our stallion at Spruce Meadows last year.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'll send it along with you along the way. It talks about the history of the horse going back. It was developed as a war horse by ancient man as a war horse. Does this make you happy?
Actually, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, because it's exactly. It's what made the Spanish horse famous throughout Europe, and they used to give them as dower, and they became the Lipizans when they sent them to Vienna and the Spanish riding schools. So, yeah. So at least you'll know how to find us.
Yeah.
And if we move, so with Ken's, usually it's going to send along, but they talked about the use of the great horse, which basically became a horse that had very, very, like not fine leg like this, but it had to be a big, strong horse
No,
that had,
I put on full plate
like Al
armor.
said, yeah, right, yeah, right. And they winch you onto the horse, right?
Yeah.
And if you go down in battle, it's bye, lie there and die.
Squires are for.
What's that?
Squires are for.
Oh, that's what squires are for.
Pick up the pieces.
Picking up the pieces, yeah,
Oh,
right.
the guy with his
And
ample
so
one
you-
is different.
I've got an arm, can I trade you? Trade you for whatever. Anyway, I'll put that with the other stuff there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what, fascinating. I didn't think horses like this still existed. So when I first went, someone sent me to see one, I thought they'd disappeared in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought it was the ideal horse. I just thought it was, gone.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're very much here. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, so we got into racing them.
My friends used to never ride, and I told them
What's that? Yeah? Oh, you're joking, friends?
We visited this family.
Yeah.
Or my family I haven't seen in 12 years, and guess what? They're raising medieval horses.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, and that will always be, actually, there will always be Andalusians now that we found them.
No.
That was about 10 years ago, I guess, we first heard of them. Maybe just before that, yeah, so, anyway. Are you really gonna video?
It's been happening for a long time already,
We're
Terry.
under fire.
What if he?
Ah, my butt's on there.
No,
Because, what if he wants to, start telling us all sorts of personal stuff when he doesn't want to.
How was Europe?
Oh, Europe is incredible.
You knew
Yeah.
this, hey?
I've talked to Nick about a half dozen times over the last 3 years. 'Cause
Yeah.
I used to work for the Liberals in the Calgary office.
He's our political family.
So I'd see him. I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year. I think.
Yeah.
And keep up with him, and usually on the fly when he was doing a press conference or something. So it was like, 5-minute conversation here or there, and asking how the family is, and that was about it. But he said that your mom was a pilot. She was doing
No,
like.
Mom's not the pilot, that's Melanie's
That's
mom.
Jennifer.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh well then, Nick got mixed up apparently.
Probably.
is your mom on Salt Spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's
She's a
fishing and
Okay.
Fish-
Do you remember
Fishes
Kathy very
commercial,
well?
she's-
Really?
You would've been so
Sound
young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Wow.
first made on a packing ship.
That's awesome. Wow.
She's been at it for about 10 years now.
Really?
Do you remember when she went to Moscow, Idaho to do, I thought it was called cinematography, but what did it end up being?
It ended up being communications and 17th century literature.
17th century
And
literature?
then she produced a
really?
few things for CBC. Or
Yeah, she was doing film
Access
production.
Access,
film
yes.
directing.
Yeah. Well, she did a couple of shorts for CBC, and she was writing on a project called No Free Lunch. That was done out here, and she also wrote a series on energy efficiency.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? That's amazing.
That's
Now
already
she
in the
fishes.
literature, huh? Now she fishes.
Now
Well,
she fishes.
That's
Oh,
great,
she-
except for this year. This year wasn't a good year to be fishing.
Well, actually, this is the first year she hasn't been fishing.
Oh,
really?
really?
Because up until this year, she has been fishing.
Mhm.
And then this year, she got a job on a packing vessel.
Mhm.
So they take the fish from the fish boats to the processing plants,
Mhm.
and they're on salary rather
Oh,
than,
that's great.
than volume.
Mhm.
So she
It was
got
the
the
right
first
year
amount.
to make that good.
It was actually.
Yeah.
It was a perfect time.
Yeah.
Because the boat she regularly fish on, I think. And what they've got is they've got a thing called crew shares for each crew member.
Mhm.
And it's 1/11th, I guess, of what the boat actually makes. And I think crew share on the boat was about $7,000 this summer.
Mhm.
So, I mean, considering it's supposed to last you the entire year.
Oh, is it?
Not a lot.
Yeah. I mean, 2 years ago she made 30.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. I know a few guys who do renovations in the off season and fishing, and they're just looking for extra work this
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
a lot of that.
Is it a year-round thing then, or is it just seasonal and then she can
Well,
do whatever else she wants to do in the off times?
It's pretty seasonal. She packs on the herring season, which is in May,
Mhm.
briefly. It's usually 2 days. That's all it takes. And then Sam is from middle of June, I guess, till the season itself goes to the end of October. But this year, she was actually even only packing until beginning of September. Because from that point on, there just wasn't enough fish being caught to sending out packers.
Where was that? Was it?
I was just afraid of just all of it,
Yeah.
from Alaska down, and they're all going on the outside of the island now instead of supposedly rather than through the Straits of Georgia.
Yeah.
They're going supposedly around where Tofino is. But
Right.
even then, there's
There's
not
a lot of fishing out there, but not a lot of boats can go out there because you've got to be a pretty big boat to handle those waves.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Twist my ankle, body shot.
And she actually went up to Alaska for the first time this year. She said it was right because she got to navigate in an area where she'd never been. And she's been fishing the Georgia Strait down for basically Queen Charlotte Island south for 10 years now. But she'd never been north of there. So this year was really, really neat for her to be up there, and she was doing all the navigation to get her right up.
So she got her use of her celestial navigation stuff, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything plotting on the charts and reading all the
It's
different
like flying, eh,
signs.
Mark?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took a little of those Astro scopes or whatever they're called.
Hey, do you ever
Can't
really
remember
use
what
that
they
with
call
those flying, no?
You're supposed to know how to use it, but you never do.
The sextant?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
An astrophone?
Yeah, you're supposed to know how to, just in case.
In case the
But
computer.
you really don't. You don't need to know
Yeah.
GPS and all that.
Yeah.
GPS is wonderful.
It's like I'm here.
Here.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you can do it if you buy a Lincoln Continental. You can find out where you are. You just
Oh yeah, that
push
was
a button
amazing.
and-
Like the little CD-ROM maps things that
Yeah.
you can buy them.
Actually,
It tells you
those
where your
kind
car
of
is
good.
anywhere in North America, and they can send a truck out to give you gas.
What?
Yeah, yeah. We should get that from our mother.
Is that the-
If we could just have a CD-ROM on or something that told us wherever
Where
she
she
is, and
is.
then to get
That's
it,
it.
and we
Give
just
it-
plant it on her
Mine in
body.
her purse.
She's just,
A telemetric
She's a nomad.
signaling
she's always
device.
been like this. She's
Yeah.
a real
Yeah.
nomad, yeah.
Hell,
And
the
she's
CIA
just
couldn't
an
catch her.
answering We wanted to give her an answering machine, and she really doesn't want one.
Yeah.
She doesn't want us to be able to find her.
If she's there, we'll find her. If not, well, it's not meant to happen.
That's right.
I just thought about answering machines. They're kind of two ways. I mean, if you don't have an answering machine, you can kind of comfort yourself with the illusion that, yeah, people called and I wasn't out. It's depressing when you come home after being away for like a day and there's nothing on the answering machine. It's like, nobody likes me. No answer.
I think it's mostly because some of her children who have young children still would be phoning and saying, "Grandma, do you have time to babysit
Babysit, yeah.
X or whatever?"
Yeah.
Where are your parents these days? Are they in Edson area or something? Did they go
Oh,
live up there?
they're in Redwater.
Redwater.
Yeah.
Redwater. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Grandpa's he's writing is there. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they've got,
Dunvegan.
they've got
So
a
that's why
little,
he lived up there.
yeah, they've got a little acreage there.
They've always had a place up there,
Mhm.
I think.
They
Where's
were in
that
Bonaccord
near?
for a while, and yeah, they've been in Redwater for about 5
Where's
years.
Redwater close to?
Closer to Edmonton, I guess. But
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
not
it's
exactly
she's
sure where
still
it is.
a
It's kinda
Barnett-
near- it's near
Barnett
Vermilion.
Westlock area,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, the same.
that was actually funny moving to Salt Spring, and guy moved in across the street from me was from West Lock.
Oh, really? Really?
He said, yeah, I think I've yelled at your grandfather.
Really?
Given the politics in this province, most people end up yelling at somebody who's
Yeah.
not
Yeah, it's
PC.
probably from Kowalski's writing, which I think is the one next to it that gets all the goodies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
Is your mom in town as well right now?
Yeah, she's did you guys know the Barrels?
yeah.
Mary Barrel?
Yeah, Mary and
Mhm.
Kathy. She's
Yeah.
out with Kathy Barrel.
Wow,
So,
oh, that's great.
and Kathy's in town.
I saw
Marie
Mary,
Barrel. I think Marie Barrel, probably Kathy's mother, was a friend of our mother's.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and her
right,
father
okay.
worked for Mobile for years. Ed Barrel was like a VP of Mobile.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because I worked at, after he retired, I worked at Canadian Superior for a while. And those are other people that we grew up with.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I never lived in Mount Royal, 'cause we were married in the 70s, so we were married at 20, and
Mhm.
my parents hadn't moved into grandma's house yet. That's
Right.
my grandmother's house.
Mhm.
So, but all that stuff was really unfamiliar. I don't know how old you were.
I was, when?
8, maybe 8 when you moved to the Mount Royal house.
Something right.
Yeah, all those neighbors.
Yeah.
We lived down the block for about 6 months.
Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
about the closest we ever came.
Close enough.
Well,
Yeah, so
yeah, too
Six
close.
That was
was
plenty,
probably
but
too
then we
close for
moved to
you.
the country.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. Yeah.
That's a little close, you know, too
But-
close to being a kid again. Hey, get up here and do this.
Heat in the microwave.
Yeah.
What's that?
Microwave
Mark,
just
you
beef.
just beef or what was that period?
Oh,
Microwave.
it's okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's gonna mind its own right now.
But Mary Barrow was in TV for a while.
Yeah.
Because I knew Mary when we went to Mount Royal College together,
Mhm.
many months ago.
Yeah, she's got a law degree now, just passed the bar
Oh, does
Wow.
she?
in Ontario.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like Kathy was saying.
Hmm.
So,
That's excellent.
Just a family of lawyers,
They
eh?
didn't have a pub night at her law school.
Wherever there's room for one lawyer, there's 5 or 6, isn't that the expression?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
Town that has room for one lawyer usually has
Room for two.
room for 2, or has 2, or has 4.
Can make a living for two. When people start suing each other.
Exactly. You'll need another one. Yeah. That's kind of neat. Is she on Salt Spring a lot during the winter, or?
Mom?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all winter she hardly ever leaves.
Really?
She's discovered that she can exist just fine without having to leave the island.
Really?
And so she does.
Yeah.
Well, she does woodworking as well she does a lot of finishing work for woodwork on the island.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's in the process of building her house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, that's excellent.
yeah.
Neat.
Because who is it, a buddy of mine goes sailing out to Salt Spring all the time, and his best friend is a builder that's been building on Salt Spring for the past 4 or 5 years. I think his name, I can't remember his name, but he's just been, he's built about 5 houses out there. Built one for his aunt, and now he's building for other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, what a surprise it's taking off, you know.
Yeah.
After everything else, you
Well, I
can't
guess-
get a lot anymore practically.
Oh no, I mean, we bought the piece of property we're on now raw for I think 40 grand, and Mom subdivided and sold off one section with a mobile home on it
Mhm.
for 102,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Mhm.
It's
Holy
become the,
smokes.
Yeah,
it's
that's
the
the way the
thing
real
to own a
estate's
piece of
going
it, isn't
there.
it?
Yeah.
I mean, the piece of property, that's why she can afford to, I mean, like I was saying earlier, she's essentially getting paid to be where she is,
Mhm.
because she holds the mortgage on the other side.
Mhm.
And I think we've got the property, this house side we're on with the house is assessed at 130 and the house isn't even done.
Mhm.
Wow.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So is that because Vancouver and Victoria are so populated, everybody's got cottages?
yeah, well, there's
Everyone's
so many people retiring these days, and
Mhm.
Salt Spring's a really popular place for it.
And they're selling their little dinky house in Vancouver for $500,000.
Yeah, that's the other
That's,
thing.
you know, a 1,100 square foot bungalow.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
vulgar, but there it is. Damn, I should have gone up there in 82 or 83. Yeah.
Well, we stayed with a woman named Vicky near Tawas, and we were going somewhere anyway, and I don't know if we stayed, maybe we just went for dinner, but she had a little teeny weeny condominium
Mhm.
and 2 bedrooms in it. I think maybe if that, I don't know if it had an upstairs, it was like an apartment. I forget what it cost her, $200,000. It was just,
Just that much.
it was just, it just was
So it's
flabbergasted, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Victoria's almost up there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like behind, but it's getting there. I have a friend who's a cop in Victoria, and the same thing. He bought his house in Scott McGregor, you know, Terry. He's they found it really rough, and they have 2 incomes,
Mhm.
just big mortgage payment.
Yeah, I've been tossed around the idea of presenting a couple. I mean, property values have dropped in Victoria within the last year and a half or so, ever since about the Commonwealth Games is when things started to slide. But they've bottomed out is what it's looking like, and my bet is they're going to go up again in the next 5 years. I've been thinking about approaching a couple people who own rental properties for a rent-to-own option on a place that's got a lot of bedrooms, and then just turn around, rent out the bedrooms to other students, and essentially get them to pay my mortgage for me.
It's a great idea. That's
Yeah.
what my roommate did. We had 4 guys in the place.
Mhm.
A couple of us worked different shifts than the rest. And no one's gonna break into your place and steal your stuff.
Because it's people there all the time.
Yeah, and B, he was like $1,100 mortgage, and he had $1,200 coming in without him putting in $1.
Yeah. So I
That's
mean, then
great.
you got enough to when it comes around to property taxes
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So I figure if I could swing that, I mean, even if what I'm paying to whoever the former landowner on the rent-to-own option is enough just to keep the interest disappeared,
Sure.
I mean, property values go up, I turn around and sell it in 3 years. Even if property values don't go up, if I turn around and sell it for what I bought it, I mean, I make back a
Or
good
you
chunk of
may have
money.
lived there for free for 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Which
yeah,
is a
worst
good
case
enough.
scenario,
Yeah.
I paid rent.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I have a friend who does it now. He just manages an apartment in Kitts,
Mhm.
and it's changed his life a little bit. That extra $700 a month, you know, will go a long way.
Yeah, that you're not paying the rent.
You know, a lot of cappuccino.
That a what?
Cappuccino.
Yeah, and he's a block away from Benny's Bagels, which is this great bagel place
Yeah.
in Vancouver. So, yeah.
You should grab, we can reach that picture of Peter Van Voort's there behind you, Ken? Just realized
More
that.
creative reasons for you.
Yeah, this is
Really?
Baroque era. Well, it's a guy in Texas, and we were bringing him up to Calgary to show off for a display. We were featured breed this year at Spruce Meadows, which won't mean much to you, but he and his wife wear Baroque costumes to ride their Andalusians, and so that, to give people the idea of why they were called the Horse of Kings,
Mm-hmm.
why they're given his dower. So he basically, this horse does this action whenever he asks it.
Shetlands were too
The
short.
costumes are quite something. And his
Yeah.
wife Kelly has a, I don't know, a pink one or something? Whatever.
Big dress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the tart dress as we call it. So the low cut front and the push up whatever and.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
God, I
so-
love the
yeah.
medieval.
Yeah, well, definitely something to be said for medieval garb.
I have to sit on a shorter chair, which means you just lost your footrest. That's right, that one's part of my
Well,
back.
it's amazing. We had a couple of guys at one of the wars this
You hear
summer,
that?
and dressed in full Italian plate mail armor.
Mhm.
Just I've never seen so much chrome in my life. It's polished stainless steel with brass accents, and it's just amazing. Yeah, two guys. They didn't fight in that armor though.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wonder why. I
Ceremonial.
mean, you spend $4,000 on a suit of armor. Why not fight?
Yeah,
it,
why not
right?
scratch it up a
It's
little?
perfectly functional.
Mhm.
Guy would walk up to him, want to fight him, and then see himself in the mirror. And
Yeah, you go, wait a minute.
Fine. Hey, I didn't see myself. Yeah.
Slice.
Is that stuff heavy?
Full plate is, yeah. I mean,
Oh.
the armor I wear it's predominantly plastic.
Oh,
So
mhm.
we use it's called pickle barrel. Big industrial grade plastic barrels. We use that,
Oh,
heat it
okay.
up, and then mold it.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea.
Wow.
Yeah. We use those kind of barrels for watering the horses.
Yeah.
exactly the same
45
type of
gallon.
things.
Yeah. mhm.
But
Oh.
yeah, they aren't as protective. I mean, the thing about that is that the impact just goes straight through. I mean, it lessens a little bit, but the impact still goes through fairly concentrated. I was thinking about leather spreads out, and steel spreads out as well. The impact. And it's like, I still get really bad bruises, and backs of my legs don't have very much armor on them. That's a favorite target one of my friends has.
Oh,
nice.
So,
nice.
So,
I
yeah,
have a
nice.
good chunk of black and blue
Yeah.
right in the back of my thigh.
Mhm.
So do you have a whole bunch of different types of it, or?
Of armor?
Well, I mean, what, plate, splint?
Well, right now it's called Visby plate, and what it is it's it looks on the outside it just looks like leather jerkin, but if you turn it over on the inside, it's got plastic plates that are riveted to it on the inside. So it's because it's so many individual plates, it makes it really movable, as opposed to a solid piece.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Your uncle, who you haven't met yet, Fred, Guy, was involved with the Winter Festival.
Okay.
And he brought about the medieval feast of the Winter Festival here
Mhm.
in Calgary. But he was a fencing, he was like won awards for fencing in high
Really?
school and university.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did Fred?
and but you know,
Fred?
Fred would, if anybody know, would be interested in something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And his dad was a professor of English literature at University of Calgary.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I think that
He was
that's-
forced to classics at gunpoint as a child.
You're reading Homer. Deal with it.
And now for your
That's
entire
exact
story,
tone of voice, I
Hamlet.
think, is very present in girls' conversations. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, his dad's kind of an unsunny old guy now.
yeah.
Put
The
him
perfect
on.
professor from hell. You want to appeal his class for sure.
Yeah. I
Is
think
he
I
still
took
teaching?
English from him in '68. now.
Really?
Yes, but
Mm,
I
no,
didn't do
she's
well
right.
in any of my courses. I
Yeah.
was moving off, but
Did-
he was awful. I
Is
called
he
him the
still
great
teaching
professor.
now, or?
No,
No.
he retired, fortunately.
Yeah, he
Fortunately,
a while
did you
ago.
say?
I saw this guy that looks so much like Fred's dad. It's
There's
unbelievable.
another prof.
RK
named-
guy, and he's
Yeah, and he's a prof at UC.
he's a math prof.
That's it, math. I knew he was in something.
I see him all the time.
Yeah,
He's in there every
bring up
morning
those
like
guys.
7.
They're all from Scotland, like
Yeah.
the guys that are, I think there's a clan in where Nova Scotia.
Well, the
in
Cape
Scotland.
Bretoners.
Yeah.
So what about this? Do you know?
No, I've met him before as well.
Have you?
Uncanny. Only he's a cheery guy. It's like there was a
He's a
evil-
happy guy,
Evil
yeah.
and
Good
evil
twin,
and happy
an
twin
equal
separated
twin.
at birth. Something like that. Yeah.
He totally looks like him though. They look the same. They do. I thought it was him. I'm like RK guy. I wonder what Fred's dad's name was because I can't remember.
Son tape? Hey,
Yeah.
Earl? How are you?
We love you, Earl, right?
He respects me because I forgot his name at Mary and Fred's wedding.
Oh.
Barbara and Mr. Guy. Yeah. I'm shocked.
Barbara and
Yeah.
Mr. Barbara and her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd go for that somehow. I have a funny feeling he's always been, Dr. and Mrs. Guy kind of
Yeah,
guy.
definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That kind of guy, yes.
Don't slap me, don't slap me. It was an accident. That wasn't on purpose.
The whole idea of eating with your hands, I can see that.
Well, there's this castle in Mount Royal this guy built next door to our friend Beverly Britton Clark, and this castle it's green and white, like.
Oh, it's Bud Ugly, and you know where it is? It's on
Bud Ugly.
Council Way, on Council Way and Carlton Street. Like, so
Yes.
it's like.
Everybody
I
has.
just saw it
to-
yesterday.
It's like 8 blocks up from.
There's this bachelor who was
from Nick's house there.
Yeah.
What was there? Somebody saying what he did for a living.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways.
A blind concert pianist.
Anyway, after he built the castle in self-defense, our friend BBC hosted a medieval dinner one night. Were you at the medieval dinner? It was great. Because she had her first degree, she did a medieval history degree, and then she used to call herself the world's oldest living law student. She went back and started law when she was nearly 50,
Oh, wow.
and then did a master's at Cambridge. Cambridge? She was
Yeah.
living in Cambridge,
Mhm.
in law.
Thought-
And her daughter did her doctorate of history at the same time, so she just loves historical things. So we had a medieval meal at this place one night with bowls that were made of the bread,
Yeah.
gourds. Oh, it was wonderful stuff. Great stuff. No cutlery.
Grog.
You could have a food fight without even having to work at it.
We should show you that Castellona. You've probably heard of it, eh?
No, I haven't actually.
Castellona was this castle built in Toronto by this really rich financier, and then he went under. But it's really
Like
cool.
most rich
He modeled it like on, I don't know,
What a good
Your
one.
typical classic castle. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
And then he never lived there, did he?
Yeah, he did for a couple years before.
The creditors moved in and kicked his ass.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now he's living below a bridge on the 401.
Yeah, right.
No, actually, this is like in like
1910 or 20.
1910
Oh,
or something.
really?
But it's cool. Like there's this underground passage to the stables.
Oh,
And
neat.
now the stables are like right in the heart of a neighborhood, eh? So you go through these stairs, you come out in the stables, surrounded by
Houses
Other
everywhere.
houses.
the 50s little.
Bungalows?
Yeah.
Jetson's duplex.
Yeah,
Do you remember that house we saw in Victoria too? That
Yes, the
that
castle
the one made out of wood.
done something.
No, Craig Derrick.
Huh?
Yeah, that
That
one.
sounds right.
What is it?
Craig Derrick Castle?
Yes, yes. And the wood, I love things that are made. Oh, the wood that there is in that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
Have you been through it?
staircase
Is it
there.
staircases
really?
and the wall.
Hmm?
Oh.
You been through it?
I haven't
Taken
actually.
pictures? Oh, it's
Oh,
worth
you
it.
should.
A good friend of mine was a tour guide there, actually. I don't
Oh.
feel I don't have to.
Well, you might
so
have.
okay, tell me about Craig Derrick Castle. And I was okay in the first room.
What I thought was there was this wonderful, I don't know, whatever it's called around the outside,
The portico.
portico. Anyway, and I thought, for marketing and division horses, getting pictures of them up on here.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is where they belonged, was in front of a building
Yeah,
that
it was
looked
all
like this.
marble and it was just.
Yeah, I mean,
gorgeous.
the
It's
outside
a-
is.
I
it's a
still
gorgeous
have like
place.
the
I've
little
driven by it
brochure
a bunch of
thing
times.
from it.
Hey, Mom,
The
do
guy
you know
with
where
this
that
interest in
castle thing is?
architecture. was-
Yeah, it's
that's
in the dining
interesting,
room
yeah.
on the sideboard thing.
You could get somebody to take a picture, Terry, put it on, throw it on a computer,
I
and
know.
superimpose the horse. That would look good, and chances
I
are
like
you
to
can get
send
arrested
me a
for
picture of
trespass.
your horse and I'll do it.
Yeah, he'll superimpose the horse, there we
There you
go.
go.
Since I work in a computer lab at UVic in the Fine Arts Department.
Oh, really?
That means that's
That's
mainly what we
excellent.
do is our graphics applications and photo manipulation and stuff.
Oh, wow.
That'd be great.
So what, are you you're finishing up your degree, or,
Well,
or starting and finishing up your degree?
He's middling
I'm
it.
about almost third year now. I'm about a credit and a half.
Sounds
so
like
about
you-
one half
you-
course.
Got the kind of longevity in university from the McGuire Southern Found.
I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's like
I took my
another
time,
couple
and
years.
I had a blast. No one, I
Yeah.
think no one had more fun at university than me, and I have the student loans to prove it.
Yeah, mine's getting up there. It's like
Yeah.
they're just changing them. It's like, what do you mean I can't default?
Well, I can fake my own death.
That's
and
cool.
we can-
Castle, it's right in the middle of Toronto.
This is a sandcastle version, obviously, but it looked exactly like this. It was really cool.
That's amazing.
Mark
Yeah.
brought it back to
I like
inspire
it.
us in our next
Because we
home.
had her, yeah. Like, Mom, Dad, come on, you can afford this, no problem.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's pretty neat though. And it had the armors and stuff.
We
So if
have
you're
to
ever in
make it
Toronto, you
nice
should
design.
go ahead.
We have
You
to
should go
move
check
on.
it out.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty neat.
Two
It was probably the best thing I saw when I was in
pairs of
Toronto.
Limestone or.
We saw this other one. It was called, I don't know, Derby Castle or some Scottish something, right? But it
Mhm.
sucked.
Well, after you'd seen this one.
Oh.
Yeah, compared to.
The thing is, the Scottish guy built it while he was homesteading, so obviously you know,
Yeah.
he didn't. It wasn't.
He didn't have the bucks to put into it.
Started
he
off
did
with the
have-
trees closer to the house and worked his way out.
Yeah, there's more history to that one though, because like the military, when it was like in the 1700s when he built that one,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how the Americans were attacking British colonies or whatever, like the British, or you know this.
Wolf and Montcalm, that kind of stuff.
Or the
Yeah,
structures
no,
after that.
actually
1812
earlier
or
than that.
nine.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Well, the government commandeered his house. And
We're gonna
made
borrow
it into,
this.
we're gonna borrow your house here, pal. And he made all these little, well, I don't know.
Made it
Changes?
into like a headquarters
Basically
type
used it,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
as a fortress.
It's cool.
Take out all the fancy furniture and put in
Put in nice big cannons and stuff. It's pretty cool.
We're going to
But
make
yeah.
a picture window here big enough to put a cannon through.
Actually, we're gonna board these up a little so you know to repel fire. Boom. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's the other thing that always had the narrow windows in castles, was so you couldn't shoot arrows through them.
You could actually,
Oh, is that why
yeah,
they're
the
so
arrows,
narrow?
Mhm.
Yeah.
the arrow slits. Just
Made
you
it,
stick your
made
head
it
out.
very difficult.
Yeah, and you could actually, like, they let you out
Oh,
onto
just
these
barrel
towers
hatch
that
stuff.
I was at a castle called Warwick Castle, just outside of Stratford upon Avon in England.
Oh.
Absolutely incredible. It's was actually occupied by the Duke of Warwick up until 1960 something. Now he lives in Paris, but
What a
they've
pleasure.
just redone it, and it's incredible. The main hall has got exhibits of armor and weapons all over it, all this great wood furniture, and they've been letting me use my flash on my camera in there, and I didn't have a tripod, so I'm sitting here trying to brace against something with my exposure down around like 1/2 a second. Came out a little blurry.
Is that together?
Just
I like the Banff Springs for that reason.
Oh,
Just
it's gorgeous,
this,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Mhm.
And at one point, I don't know where it's gone now, but they had a suit of armor standing by itself and without a person in it. In one of the, they had one of the spiraling staircases, just off in the corner, like not one of the big ones, but this is just off to get down there. And they go down here, and all of a sudden right beside you is the guy in the armor, or the armor without the guy. Anyway, I was like, gee, in some other lifetime must have lived in this place. This is, just
Yeah.
feels right.
That's what I was thinking. I was in Ireland, I just didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I understand it.
Spent about 4 weeks hitchhiking around,
Mhm.
and then another 4 weeks living in Dublin,
Wow.
This is cool.
Wow.
working at a hostel there.
Really?
You should do that stuff.
Oh,
I
that's
became
cool.
the unofficial
You
tour
should
guide
do
of the
that while
Guinness
you're
Brewery.
at it.
Mhm. Yeah.
By golly.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Most people don't realize that you can refill that half pint they give you.
Well, if you drink too much Guinness, it comes in the same way it goes.
I was out the same way you came in.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a bit of a shock the first
Yeah.
time. Whoa!
No, I'm not internally bleeding, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's awful looking stuff.
Yeah.
Looked good the first time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's all, like going to a bar and you can't get to the actual bar itself. She'll like, give me a pint. Hand over £2, comes back a pint, some change. That was the neatest part. They gave you your change back. Go to a bar in Calgary and hand somebody $3 for a beer, and it's not coming back. And probably the beer won't either.
Yeah. My friend got escorted out of a bar in Quebec City because she didn't tip. I thought it was
Really?
hilarious. Yeah, they're in a place called Chez des Gobert in just outside old Quebec, and she was from Saskatchewan. They usually tip every third round, and like the tip, the equivalent 10% overall what they're drinking.
Yeah.
And this girl got 2 rounds served to her, and then the bouncer came up to her and said, "What's your problem? Don't you like this service? Do you want to leave?" Oh, and she was like crying on the way out, and then we had to go rescue her. It was pretty scary. Had a problem. Yeah.
Argent, you
Learned
want
how to become
Argent?
bilingual as far as liquor was concerned, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 2 beer instead of really much beer.
That's close for business, yeah. That's
The thing about William University that rang true was he said, throw together a paper the night before it's due and get an A.
That's right. And there's
I didn't get the
there's
A
no
part.
such
I
thing
never got the
as
A's
a
the
moral
night
excuse
before.
for an extension.
Well, he said he did. Yeah.
Actually, this is the first time it happened. I kind of felt bad about it because I didn't do much of the research. A friend of mine was doing the same topic. So she taped out all the books and she highlighted most of the good areas, but I guess I just right the way the
I
They,
hope
project.
she
they
got
could have
a
been
good
highlighted
Actually, she
before.
got a C plus. which
Oh,
made me
geez,
feel
that makes you
really-
major bitter, you know.
You watch your back. I hope she's not in your society.
Well, actually, she is. But
Oh,
she's
shoot.
my,
She's got a
actually, she's my
broadsword.
foster home.
So.
She's your what?
In the society, when new people come in,
They're sponsored more
Yeah,
or
they're
less,
sponsored
yeah.
by somebody, and I've sponsored this one. And
Oh.
we're actually really good friends, which is probably the only reason I haven't woken up with a dagger.
Right.
Hey, this isn't playtime anymore. This is for real.
She's getting into armor too. Yeah, I'll fight you, Will.
Yeah, that split second where you remember being told don't hate girls is gonna be the one where you get cracked on the head.
Why they wear armor? You can't tell.
Oh, they
Can't see their face.
Oh, well, that works out better then.
There's a couple women knights. And a knight is, I don't know if you compare it to a martial art, it's the equivalent of a black belt. And
Oh.
you can't pause. You pause, you're dead.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Oh, I
there's
see
this
what you
one,
mean.
she's about 5
Oh,
feet tall.
okay.
Her name's Lady Sir Bulwark. If you call her Sir Bulwark, she'll clock you whether you're wearing armor or not. And make sure you get that lady in front of you. She's like,
Lady, sir.
Lady Sir Bulwark, because Sir's the title for being a knight.
That's kind of fun.
That's kind of
Either
bizarre.
just Lady
Medieval
Bulwark.
times.
Probably
Lady
in a place,
Sir Bulwark.
you know,
Medieval
girls
times.
rugby and high school or something like that.
But yeah,
tough her up.
you pause before going into battle against her, and you did. I mean,
Yeah.
she'll go up one side of you, down the other. She'll hit you 4 times before you hit the ground.
The soldiers must be great.
Yeah.
You know, not the kind of girl you make it pass up without really thinking about it.
So what say we go?
Love, copulation, concussion, copulation.
Nice going, Mike. Oh, Michael.
That's nasty.
It's always the same.
Only sicker from time to time.
It's the red one.
Yeah, sure. You just have a rat, though. It's always something to do with doing
That always unnerved me when I did court-martials. They call you sir. So there I am, clearly female, cross-examining some, a sergeant or whatever, and then call me sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. And it was really, really causing me difficulty. 'Cause
Disconcerting.
it was really disconcerting and attractive. So I finally said, I appreciate the respect, but could you cut the sir stuff when you're answering my questions? Because I'm not an armed forces member, and I just want to answer. And they tried for a while, but it was impossible.
Yeah,
Yes
it's so
came what they
ingrained in
served,
you.
whether you were a woman or not.
To an officer gets that
Yeah.
rank as well.
Yeah, like you would phone the base and they'll say, good morning, sir. I haven't even said hello yet. That's just. So it's
Yeah,
actually
it's a real thing in society. If somebody's not a knight, you don't call them sir. If they're not wearing a white belt, you don't call them sir. It's always my lord, my lady, or...
This sounds like fun. I think
Until
I'll
you
get
see
into
it.
this stuff, Ken.
Oh, you gotta be careful.
Sounds
it's
structured.
very, very consuming. It's
We
very
don't
easy
need,
to
I do
just be
consuming. We
completely
better not
caught
do
up in it.
consuming. I do consuming when I take stuff on, so maybe when I don't have to do all my other
Maybe
jobs.
when you retire, eh?
Yeah, whatever that means, right?
You'd be certainly welcome with the horses. I mean,
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot of
sure.
people would be very
Yeah,
excited
great
about
Wouldn't it be
it.
fun? Oh, it'd be fun to
Oh,
just
yeah.
come and bring them even, you can.
That'd be great. We should make a date for that. You guys come out to the Clinton War. I'll set you up in costumes and get you a tent to stay.
You got a
bring
place
couple of
for the
horses.
horses to stay in Enderby, which I don't think is far from Clinton if my geography.
Well, I mean, the property we've got it on in Clinton is a horse ranch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We just,
Mm.
most of the
Where's
horses
Clinton?
get taken
Where's
out.
Clinton?
It's like, I guess, is it north of Vernon or
Yeah.
near Vernon?
Yeah,
Oh.
There
it's
you go.
north.
And that's Shelley
Oh,
lives in.
yeah.
Shelley lives in. Shelley, to be even more confusing, is
Michelle.
Mary Kay's sister-in-law.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Shelcoy,
Yeah.
yeah.
They have their place in Enderby is
Mhm.
like what?
Enderby sounds familiar.
Well, we
Passed
met this
through it,
neat
but-
woman who has Frisian horses,
Mhm.
and they really do look like the medieval horse. They come out of Holland.
Mhm.
Oh, you must have seen Lady Hawk if you
Oh,
like
yeah.
medieval time. Okay.
Oh, is that a Frisian?
The black is a Frisian.
Oh, that was
And the horse at
absolutely
the end with his
incredible
mane
horse.
to the ground,
Yeah.
where they're doing that fight, that's an Andalusian.
Okay.
The white one,
Yes.
yeah.
The bad guy's riding a white horse and the good guy's on a black. I kind of like that little twist.
Yeah.
But anyway, actually, I love the movie. But anyway, this woman trained Frisians in Germany, and she lives in. We're all over the place. It's not Penticton. Where was she?
What's around
Summerlin.
there? Summerlin?
Peachland.
Okay.
Mhm.
Peachland, Summerlin?
And she's got these 2 Frisian geldings that she trained, and she gets them to do things like the Spanish walk, which our
Mhm.
stallion now does, besides
Mhm.
playing dead. But all of those moves, the airs above the ground
Practicing.
movements and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff that they did in Vienna, those were war moves. It was a war horse. So they did that leap. A horse would do a leap and then a kick back, the capriole. And that's what you did to the army as it was advancing. I mean, these big horses would kick and kick the shit out of the bad
Oh, yeah.
guys who were coming towards you. Or they would do the rearing, and they could actually leap on their hind legs towards, which gave the knight the advantage if you're striking down.
Oh, yeah.
And what were the other ones? Well, the Spanish walk is obvious,
Just, so you know,
which
that's
is
Yeah.
the front leg striking. Yeah, and our stallion will do that now. That's one of the things he does.
So what's the name of your kid?
This is
This
Lisa.
is Lisa.
Also known as Yida. This is Willie.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
This is one of your cousins, so to speak, since Yida's sort of part of the family. The cousin, and finally one that isn't this big and yappy,
Yeah, that's true. It
Well,
doesn't hang off
that
me at
big.
random.
and doesn't hang off you at random. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you?
Not on a regular basis.
Whoa! We're on video.
No, he's a little
personal.
Depends on the volume of Guinness, I suppose.
Not really.
he's a little big to be,
Well,
you
think of
know,
it this way,
giving
this is Mark's
piggyback
girlfriend
rides.
and Jesse's best friend. So if you answer that question yes, you're going to alienate probably two of them. If you answer it no, you're going to alienate her. So I would duck it. My legal advice is duck that question.
Fifth Amendment, anything I say.
We're on tape, I can't answer that.
Nice going, Rita. You've been in the room 2 minutes,
She's
and
got
you
that
got
sarcasm
wondering what
happening
else
already.
could happen to his life.
Sorry.
He'll never come to visit again.
Yeah, you must feel rough, eh? You're in interrogation and you're getting all these voices all right. Would you? Huh, would you?
Yeah, it's a bright light shining.
Yeah, exactly.
Real good on
Yeah.
tape.
Well, listen, well, I'm ever glad I made that call today.
Yeah.
Oh, why did I ever phone? Anyway, we were talking about medieval times, so to speak,
Ah.
Horses.
and horses. Have you ever seen medieval
And
times,
swords,
by the way?
yeah.
Have you ever heard of them?
No, I haven't.
They're a dinner theater kind of deal.
Mhm.
I saw them in Texas the first time, and I think they're in Toronto. I don't know if they'll ever come to They might come to Vancouver next. They set up this deal where you go and pay them a bunch of money. You sit around in a big, you'd almost need like a coliseum kind of place where there's all sorts of stands. I don't know how they
It'd be
feed
great
you.
as the armory, one of the armory places would be great for that. I
Yeah.
think they had it there.
Yeah, I thought about
But the
setting
one-
something up here one time
Yeah.
like that. And they usually, the chief night guy comes in and he announces, and they do a little sort of a play thing. You know, Queen so-and-so was having trouble with whatever.
Mhm.
and,
Black Knight.
The Black Knight.
Yeah.
And then they have their knights, and they have them different colored. And actually they get the audience really involved. I'm not quite putting money down on who's gonna win this. But they do some jousting, they do some hand-to-hand combat, they'll do some
Do they do the jousting on horses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Could be
Wonderful
really
stuff. And they, set up poles, and then they'll do a thing where the knights have to go down on a dead run on their horses and put their
On a ring or
lances
something.
through a ring.
Capture the brass ring.
Okay.
Yeah, and they charge people like, I don't know, $50 a head, and you have dinner and then this entertainment.
Second thought she meant they charge people.
Yeah, yeah, I had some of the videos.
They charge folks too.
They
Then
charge-
folks
they
wander
charge
around on the
two
grounds,
levels.
they get charged, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a neat deal. And I think it's, I don't know if it's a classic medieval meal, but it's done
Probably pretty close.
as much as they can fake it, no utensils and that kind of thing. They have one in Vegas and one in
What's
Dallas,
one in
Fort
Los
Worth, one in
Angeles?
LA, one in Toronto. They're good, big money things. And they usually
Yeah.
have an Andalusian as, the horse the knight sits on, the narrator. And then they have variations of other breeds of horses, because they're all draped in costume. And I
Mhm.
looked at their costume. The knights don't have any protection whatsoever. They're quite good actors and tumblers and
Mm-hmm.
that kind
Yeah,
of
so
thing.
it's really just well choreographed.
Yeah, it's quite, it's acting and choreography mostly. But a couple of them would end up with real bronchi horses, hilarious from a horse person's perspective,
Yeah.
The rider comes in the ring, buck, 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 buck. He tries to charge the other guy. He's got his lance half around his neck and his costume's coming off, and he's trying to get his horse under control enough to charge at the bad guys, and the horse is just gone, having a real bad night.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Yeah, in more ways than one.
What did you say?
Or
Yeah.
good night.
Or
Yeah,
good
the
night.
horse's perspective.
Yeah.
Good night for the horse.
Yeah.
Good night, night.
Bye, you're
God's
welcome.
not.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You arrived just in the nick of time.
Save us from our puns.
Yeah.
So we have a specific award for people in the medieval society who do puns. It's called the Woeful Order of the Ailing Wit. Whoa, for short. Once you're awarded one, you've got to wear your badge of it all the time. It's a little silver cloth about this big with a W.
So you're always on, because they know.
It's actually, it's a warning label.
Do not talk to this guy, he's gonna use bad wit on you.
Pretty much. And if you don't wear it, and you're seen not wearing it in the presence of the king and queen, you owe the queen a 1 pound chunk of very good chocolate.
Oh,
I know we're gonna
go to
down to
Pound
flesh.
Flesh.
I was into Shylock here.
No chocolate.
Chocolate's good.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a very reasonable society. You like
Mike
chocolate.
said I'd become a queen for the chocolate.
You said that?
He was pointing at me.
Oh.
I should become a queen.
Well, I mean, it's, all you have to
Don't
do
do
is
it.
get Terry to win the crown on her own. And you can be consort.
Hey, you could be the
If I
concert.
still get the chocolate, sounds good.
Yeah.
He's easy. If he's got chocolate,
Beer or chocolate?
we bought him.
Like our queen of the realm is chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, hey, there you are. Ida makes the best
We
chocolate
have the
chip
best
cookies
bank
in the
right
world.
here.
Yeah, definitely.
We gave her measuring spoons for Christmas. We don't even own them. Well, Santa did.
Well, I don't think I broke the 10,000 calorie ceiling that day.
That's how we hire out our mercenary companies and everything. So large or smaller chocolate chip cookies. So many for a certain mercenary company.
Maybe that's why all those Celts had bad teeth in
Exactly.
Braveheart.
Too much chocolate.
And we were talking to Braveheart a while ago. We have to see that. That's.
Oh, you haven't
Uh,
seen
They
it
better
yet?
move up. No.
Oh,
Just
via
saw
once.
Rob Roy. Loved
But
him.
yeah, I've seen Rob Roy at least 15 times.
Yeah.
No.
And I won't tell you how, but yes. We have a converter that doesn't quite work the way it should.
Stuck on peg.
Darn it.
That bill's gonna be nasty, but hell, I love Rob Roy.
Exactly. I like the way he just sliced them apart. I'll have a little off the shoulder.
You worked in catering too long.
Yeah. But that was kind of interesting. The Marquise. The Marquis. That's right.
My turn, your turn.
Yeah, that was kind
Can't
of
always
Ryan.
be for me.
We
Sometimes
were
it could be for somebody
talking
else.
earlier, and the movements he used in that last scene are all very similar to the techniques we use in fighting in the medieval society.
with a big sword.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It just his approaches and the shots he was throwing.
So it's quite
Just
realistic.
just amazing. Yeah.
Is it university related or is it?
No, it's
The society?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an
that's
international
true.
society
You can
that's
just kind of
basically
decide
pretty
to be
much
part of
anything.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody can. Pretty much. We don't. There's no special requirements for membership.
Yeah.
We've got babies that can hardly walk. To our oldest member just died earlier this year, and she was 92.
Oh.
That's cool. She's practically
So what's it
not
called
common,
then?
Yeah.
It's called the Society for Creative Anachronism.
Okay. Yeah, someone explained that to me, but
Anachronisms?
I never really was good at English.
Anachronism
I was
is-
confused with acronym and I was going, wait a second here.
Well, it's
I
not
have written
really
down
What do you
somebody.
guys do?
Well, it probably has an
Kind of place
acronym,
and-
but
yeah. I had
Hi.
it written down someplace somewhere. So I went, oh, anarchy, cool. Can I join? Well, it's anachronism. It's something that's out of place in time. Oh, damn.
So, okay, well that's cool. I was just kind of curious. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
In a way, they're kind of recreating the medieval times now, I guess would be.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
taking a certain area.
The object
Well,
of the
it's
society.
The broad guidelines we go through is the lower guideline isn't so much, but it's 650 up to 1650. The upper guideline is it's more definite cutoff because it's just basically when gunpowder started to be used in regular force.
Renaissance.
We
kind of
don't
thing.
want that. We like swords and shields.
We got guns today.
But it goes back. I mean, we've got some people that dress up like Roman legionnaires.
Are you really? That's like 400s though, isn't it?
That's like 400 BC.
Oh.
no Mongols.
Yeah, we've got Mongols.
Really?
We've got Mongols. We've got samurai.
That's where I want to be. Mongol.
Oh, so there.
Yeah.
It's not.
It used to be just Western Europe, but now it's spread across. It's
Everybody.
basically anything in the Middle Ages.
Wow.
There's
I like
actually
it.
it's a Scottish-Japanese family.
It's
They
quite a
call
combination.
themselves the McBeans, but they all dress in Japanese armor. And I guess they actually found one example of trade that had happened from Scots that had traveled along the northern part of Europe and had met up with the Japanese trader. And they've actually found and documented a meeting between a Scot and a Japanese person in the Middle Ages,
Is
and
that
they're
right?
they're, they're
Yeah.
building on that connection.
No way.
Yeah.
Isn't that something, eh? For both sides to be out,
Yeah.
traveling so many thousands of miles. Yeah.
But it's
Probably
really
trying to
interesting.
escape a plague or something.
We've actually got an
They often
entire
change places.
aspect of the society, one entire household. It's called the Mongol horde.
Mhm.
And they've got everything. They've made the Mongol tents. They're called yurts. They're just incredible. Because it's like the walls they're round, and the walls are kind of a baby gate construction. So I mean, it's 4 square panels essentially that are staked down and bent so they go in a circle. And then the top is kind of like an umbrella. It comes down like that. They're just incredible, really roomy. But, I think it's a society here. The society has the largest collection of yurts outside of Mongolia.
Is that right?
Really?
Yeah, they really gotten into it. Yeah.
Was that ever wild?
Did you say from 450?
No, 650.
650.
650 is the vague outline. That's most of it falls between 650 and 1650.
Okay.
But there are people, like I say, who do.
Mhm.
So you guys just like,
Romans and
what do you
Greeks.
research or anything? Or you just
Yeah, a lot of people, they will do research. It's the neat thing about it is you can get as far into it as you want. I mean, there are guys who just go to fight practices and just go out to the weekends to fight. And then
Cool.
there are people who throw themselves into it completely, and they spin their own wool to weave their own cloth to make their own clothes. It's, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a varied aspect that as much as you want to get involved in it, you can.
That's really cool.
There are people who never actually get into clothes, all they do is help organize. So,
Hmm.
a lot of designers say they do a good job organizing, people give them clothes.
Here you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolute riot. Although it can be very consuming. You start to look at things in a completely different light. You'll look at something, and go, yeah, I could make that. And you look at movies completely differently. If it's on in the Middle Ages, it's like, whatever. It's like if you've seen that movie The First Night.
Never saw that.
Not yet.
You know
But
what?
first
I've
of
heard
all,
bad things about that.
I heard it so. Like, first of all, this is the thing that I read this in Maclean's actually, but he kind of shot down Richard Gere's Lancelot because he's supposed to be a paladin and he's more of a ranger kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean.
Comes from the forest.
Well, Richard Gere can't act. Well, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, he can't.
But, yeah, the armor was pretty bad.
Nice and shiny though.
Brand new, hot off the stainless steel.
It was all can-
I mean,
He looked like a
it's-
Harley Davidson.
As far as
Where's-
historical perspective, it was way off. But, I mean, it's Arthurian romance, though. I mean, the character they're placing historically as Arthur existed in the 6th century in southwestern England. In the 6th century, they didn't have full plate armor. They didn't charge on horses. They hadn't invented the stirrup at that point.
Right.
So, I mean,
Did you see, well, and I guess the other Camelot would be the same, the original one that was
Richard
the
Harris.
musical?
Mhm.
With Richard Harris, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that was at least as phony as the
I
new
mean,
one.
they were all. It's as far as the new one, it had more to do with like the time period that they were setting it in. I mean, as far as historical Arthur representation, let's face it, Arthur isn't historical. It's a fantasy. I mean, if you take that in its context, that's fine. But one aspect of it was even the time period they do set it in, their fabrics are wrong, their garb is designed wrong, the armor styles itself is incorrect.
The
Stuff
people
like
have to probably incorrect their size, 'cause men were usually about 5'7" in that era.
that. Some were, some weren't. They've in
They
the
were
Life of
really
Charlemagne,
big
it puts Charlemagne at being 6'7".
Really?
Yeah,
Huge.
I mean
Serious.
it's.
You'd be playing center.
I mean, there are actually instances of people. I mean, the average height, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're leaders of countries who achieved that spot through
Through the physical
battle,
size.
and their sheer physical size. I mean, had a lot to do with them being very large people.
Other than Napoleon, who had a big attitude.
Napoleon never had to put on armor, though.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of those pictures, I don't know, no, that's Van Dyke on the front, but there's a picture of Napoleon on his horse in there, and, yeah,
Mhm.
it's just no big guy.
Yeah.
And he was, bye guys, go out there and
Kill
kill,
'em.
maim,
That's
Well, I
street
can't wait.
jockeys.
back for dinner.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's amazing.
Isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
I know when I watch shows, because you know, horses are my passion. Like I watched a wonderful show called Into the West, set in Ireland.
Mhm.
If you ever get a chance.
Oh,
to
yeah.
About the gypsy
With
kids.
Tiernan Og.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And in that show, the white horse that they have that's kicking the hell out of the suite and that they take up in the elevator is an Andalusian.
Mhm.
But there's at least 6 horses playing that part, and they're
Yeah.
all different breeds. I mean, there's a draft horse, there's a
Yeah.
thoroughbred doing the jumping, there's, you know, so like you would watch for correctness that way. Horse people, and as you know, I'm not a psycho alone in this. There are other horse people out there who are doing this,
Really?
and they will say, "Did you see that show about Ireland? Can you believe how many white horses they use?" I mean, it's the same kind of thing, you know. They all go,
It's like a
"God,
trucker's
how could they
convention,
possibly
say,
think a draft
"Yeah,
horse
I
is the
can't do
same
that,
as
'cause
a
in the book
whatever?"
it was
you know?
different.
How did they
Yeah.
think? Or you know, Black Stallion or Fury or any of those, all the different ones that were used. So.
Receipt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll give it
definitely
one.
though. It's the same type of thing. I mean, suddenly because that was part of your life, you tend to be very exact.
Sure.
It's valuable.
Yeah, and we were
Maybe
afraid
shut
we
it
won't
down.
go to law
might
shows
be
with
over
me
with
anymore.
anyway.
She's a lawyer as well,
Mhm.
but she won't. What are you sitting there for? Object? What's the matter with you? What do you mean overruled?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We had
Or
to
doctors
leave one. I
won't
can't
watch
remember
ER.
what it was.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
or doctors. Yeah, probably watching ER saying,
Yeah, whatever.
nah.
Give me a spleen back.
Give him his spleen back. Yeah,
You
right.
didn't have to take that out. Put it back.
Actually, a friend of mine is just finishing med school, and she lives with 3 other roommates, and they watch it every Thursday.
Mhm.
Yes,
Like,
ER.
yeah, yeah. And just 'cause I told them I was going to get her an ER shirt for Christmas, and she said, "Oh, give me 5, and I'll sell them." And it's like, that must be low. Okay, whatever.
Finance next semester, huh?
Yeah.
It's funny, hey?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was getting my tape. I'm gonna finish off this tape here because I
Yeah.
think it's pretty
This
close.
is me.
Howdy.
This is my receding hairline.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Oh.
One for Terry.
Okay, everybody
That's
away.
all you get.
Hey, Mark.
He doesn't like a picture. Make his face go
So
that way.
where do you
I'm
live?
not making you ready to do anything.
Bring it
Yeah,
in.
your
10-minute walk from that campus.
He's now taking a picture
Five
of you,
other
but you
guys.
better turn around.
Yeah, no kidding. That's okay. And also it works well on weekends.
Yeah.
Social.
Well, actually,
Mhm.
we don't do a lot of social stuff with my roommates.
Thanks, Mark.
Because we've all just met each other for the
Little-
first time in September.
Our calendar's a little bit off here, but it's December 29th.
Gee, I wish Matthew could have been here to
Yeah.
visit with you, especially to hear about Europe and stuff too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's over till 8, so.
But he's coming over to see me sometime in the next, well, the open invitation.
Oh, in
anytime
Vancouver,
next-
yeah.
Yeah, because I live
Oh,
in.
sure, I can't come till the
in
summer,
South
but
Surrey.
Matt can come anytime.
Well, that's because
Matthew
you're
has
expecting
money,
me to
that's
make it through
'cause
your
Matthew's-
first year of post-secondary education.
Well,
dear.
too
Spring
bad
break.
then.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she's not going
I-
this semester.
I dropped out.
She's on,
Oh.
Yeah, you could go anytime too if you have money.
Oh, yeah.
sort of like what you said after a year of engineering. Booey, I don't wanna do this stuff.
Well, I did it after a semester of general studies, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Willie, any last words for the camera and say to?
Oh, shoot.
Take me home.
How could this happen?
And then
Dad, come
I'm gonna shut it down,
Hi.
and we can be a little more relaxed.
Grandma Ellen. All those other people's names.
Say, Grandma Allen quit smoking.
What he said.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'm really glad I did make that phone call today. It
Oh, boy.
wasn't the easiest thing in the world I've done, but I'm happy I did.
Yeah, we're not all that
Same
scary.
here.
We're a little weird, but not all that scary.
Trust me. My family's weird, or the other side of the family is weird enough as it is.
Well, before we run them down
Sarah, I
on
don't know
tape,
what
I'll
she's
shut this off.
Hey,
Yeah.
then if we don't find the errant Grandma Allen, at least we can show her, yes, he exists.